Begin the Gemara today on Daf Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph, towards the bottom of the Yamud, 7 lines from the bottom of the Yamud. Amar Rav Yudah Amar Rav Asi, Rav Yudah said in the name of Rav Asi, or others are going to say in the name of Rav. Ein ma'asin elo lepsulos. You don't force a person to divorce his wife only if he's married to a wife that's possible for him, that he's not allowed to be married to, where the Kedushin took effect. When we have such psulos that the Kedushin doesn't take effect, if it's a chi of Kodesh. But if it's a chi of Lav and the Kedushin takes effect, so then that's the only case we force him to divorce his wife. Kimrisa kamei de Shmuel. Now Rav Yudah said, when I said this halacha in front of Shmuel, so Omar, so Shmuel said, Kagain, so for example, Almana l'kohen gadol, an Almana married to kohen gadol, there's a Lav. Grusha v'chalutza l'kohen hedyet, divorced woman or a chalutza, that chalitza done, can't be married to kohen hedyet. Mamzeres on a sina li Yisrael, a mamzeres or on a sina, which the Gatos is coming from the 7 nations that you're not allowed to marry. So married to a Yid as well is also a lav. Or the reverse, Bas Yisrael and Nosn or a Mamzer, a Bas Yisrael that's married to a Nosn or a Mamzer. All these cases, we force the husband to divorce his wife. Avol Nasa Isha v'shoyima esashanim, a person is married to his wife for 10 years. V'lo yolda, and she didn't have any children yet. So over here, he didn't fulfill the mitzvah of piri v'ribya. So you would think maybe we should force the husband to divorce his wife, so he should be able to marry someone else to fulfill the mitzvah of piri v'ribya. Ein kaifenaisa. We don't force him to divorce his wife, and the reason is because he could always marry a second wife without divorcing this wife. Rav Tachlife baravimi yama Shmuel. Tachlife, he said in the name of Shmuel that no, afile nasa isha v'sha ima yuchanim. Even in this case, the person is married for 10 years, v'lo yolda, and she didn't have any children. Kaifin oisai, we force him to divorce his wife, and the reason is because this is a takana midrabanan. Even though minatayre, he could go and marry a second wife, but midrabanan they said he should divorce his wife because if he's not going to divorce his wife, a very big chance that he's not going to marry a second wife. His first wife is not going to be comfortable with him marrying a second wife, so they force him to divorce his wife. So now the Gemara asks from what we learned in our Mishnah. Tanan, in the Mishnah we learned a whole list of people that they are the ones that are forced to divorce their wife. These are the people that we forced them to divorce their wife. Mokishchin, a person that has boils all over his body. Palipus, we had a machlekes before what that means, a bad odor from the mouth or the nose. And then another few individuals that it mentioned there in the Mishnah that are forced to divorce their wife. Now the question is, Bishleim Rav Asi, we could explain now according to Rav Asi. So over here in the Gemara, Rav Asi said that, Rav Yudah said in the name of Rav Asi, that when it comes to psulois, only a person that's married to a wife that he's not allowed to live with, then we force him, right? Any other case, we don't force. That's what he said here. So we can say, according to him, that Rabbanan Katani, the Iraisa Katani. In our Mishnah, when it mentions Elusha Kaifin, that these are the individual that we force them to divorce their wife, why doesn't it mention all these cases that Rav Asi spoke about over here? That's because the Mishnah is speaking about cases that the Rabbanan instituted, that these people have to divorce their wife. And he's speaking about the cases of Psulais Minat Torah. So that's why we understand our Mishnah doesn't mention the things that are Minat Torah. But Rav Tachlife Baravimi, but according to Rav Tachlife Baravimi, that says that Chachamim instituted a person that doesn't have children, that he also has to divorce his wife. So listen, in this case, a person living with his wife 10 years and didn't have children, that we force him to divorce his wife, that's also only midrabanan. Why doesn't it mention it in our Mishnah amongst the cases that the Rabbanan were misaken to divorce? Amar Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman answers, like Kasha, this is not a question. Ha b'mili, when it comes to the case that Rav Tachlifa said, that you divorce your wife because you didn't have children, that's that we force him with words. We speak very strongly to him about this, that he has to divorce his wife. But we don't go further than that. Beyond that, we don't do. And ha b'shaiti, in our Mishnah, it speaks about you pick up a rod and you hit this person. You physically use physical force to force this person to divorce his wife in these cases where he has the various different illnesses that his wife can't live with him. Some of the Rishonim actually say b'shaiti does not mean with literally with a rod, but it means with different ways Chachamim have to force a person, certain charamis you could place upon a person. Maskefla Rabab asks on this answer. The pasuk says, "V'dvarim lo yivaser eved." Just with words, you cannot bring affliction upon a slave. Meaning, words are meaningless. If the person sees that you're speaking to him harshly, but then you don't take any further steps, he's not going to feel forced to divorce his wife. So how could you say that over here it means be forced with words? Therefore, Rabbi gives a different answer. In both cases, the Mishnah, and over here when it says a person that was married 10 years, that Chachamim instituted, he has to divorce his wife, in both cases it's even with physical force. Why doesn't it mention it in the Mishnah? Because Hassam, in the Mishnah, Ki Amra Havina Bahadei, when the wife says that I'm okay, I'm ready to live with him. Shafkin Allah, we allow her to live with her husband. But Hacha over here, when a person didn't have children with his wife, Afagav Damra Havina Bahadei, she says I want to continue living with him and I don't mind the fact that I don't have any children. We don't allow her because this is his mitzvah of Pirividibya, Chacham wa Mesakin, that he should divorce her. Frag the Gemara, but how could he say this? One of the cases in the Mishnah is the mukishchen, person with boils all over his body, but it means not stam boils over his body. It's, the Gemara before explained that it's a very, very terrible illness where even limbs of his body fall off, and he can't have any relations with his wife. This itself causes him to be even sicker. Even if she says, I'm ready to continue living with him, we don't let her live with him. Because it says in the Mishnah, that even the opinion that argues, but everybody agrees when it comes to mukashchin, her living with him causes him to become even sicker, causes him to lose limbs of his body. So we see that in the Mishnah, it also is counting a case where she can't say, I'm ready to live with him. So why doesn't it mention this case of a person that didn't have children after 10 years? The Katani, and it mentions that in the Mishnah as well. Answers the Gemara, but there's still a difference. Hassam, in the cases that it mentions in the Mishnah, including a mukashchin, ki amra dayarna bahadei. If she says that I'm going to live with him besadi, and there's going to be Aiden that are going to make sure that I don't have marital relations with him, so me living with him is not going to cause him to get any sicker. Shafkin Allah, we allow her to live with him. But Hacha, over here, a person that's married to his wife and she didn't have children after 10 years, Afagav da'amra dayarna badei besadi, even if she says, I'll live with him and there'll be Eidos, and they'll see that I don't have any relations with him, and I'll let him be married to someone else as well. We don't allow. Chachamim instituted that after 10 years you have to divorce her. Tanya and Abraisa, we learned Amar Rabbi Yosi. Rabbi Yosi said, "Sochli zoken echad me'anshe Yerushalayim." There was a older individual from the people of Yerushalayim that said to me, "Esrim va'arba mukishchine." There are 24 different kinds of illnesses of this mukishchin. Regarding all of them, Chachamim said, Tashmish kosher lehen, marital relations is very bad for it. Bali rasan, which is a kind of illness, of one of these illnesses of mukishchin, kosher mikulan, is the worst of all of them. The Gemara is going to soon say about this bali rasan. I don't know how to translate this in today's illnesses, but the Gemara soon says that this is a kind of illness where a person has some kind of a worm or some kind of an insect that's by his brain. That's what causes this illness. Mimai hava. From what does this happen that a person gets this illness? The Tanya, so we learned in the Braise, hikis dam, a person that let blood, and it makes a person weak, especially the way it was done those days, that they took out a lot of blood at a time. And then vishimish, he has marital relations after this. Havim leibanim visikin. So then he'll have children that will be very weak. Hikizu shneim, both the husband and wife let blood, and vishimshu, and then they had marital relations. So then we'll have children that will have this illness of Bali Rasan. But Rav Papa said about this, this was only said if after a person let blood and he didn't taste anything afterwards, so then this could happen to his children. If he eats something, he tastes something before, so he gets back his kayach, so less lamba, so it doesn't matter, then nothing will happen. My simone, what's the symptoms of a person that has this illness of Bali Rasan? Dolphinene, his eyes are always watery, always teary. V'daivi nechire, and he has from his nose also he has fluid coming out of his nose. V'aisele ririmi pume, and he's drooling from his mouth. V'romo didvi ilave, and flies are attracted, insects are attracted to him and sit on him. What's the healing for this individual? Okay, so I'll try to translate this Gemara to the best of my ability. It brings here a very interesting ingredients, some kind of a potion here. So Amar Abaye, you're going to take pila veludna, which are different kinds of grasses. Rashi says it's grasses and gives the name of it in Old French. Girda the aguza, the shell of the tree, not tree. The girda the ashpa, and also girda the ashpa. So this is what you take off from the hide of an animal, and you scrub off when you want to smooth it out. So you have to take also this that you shave off. Take some of that as well. And then the kolol malka, take kolol malka, which Rashi calls chavatzeles. And then umaschale the dikle sumke, you take from a red palm tree. So you take the maschale, something that comes from this red palm tree. And what do you do with all of these ingredients? V'shalik lo ba'adi adodi. You cook it all very well together. And then, you take this person that has this illness of rason, and you bring him into a house that's built from marble. The marble is that it doesn't allow any wind or any air to come in from outside. It'll be airtight. If you don't have a house that's built from marble, so take him into a house that's built with 7 layers of bricks and half bricks. Again, should not be any wind coming from outside. And then you have to pour 300 cups of this potion that you cooked well over his head, until the skull will become soft, and above his brain the skin will be very soft. And then you're able to tear open the skin above his brain. Now you have to bring 4 leaves from the hadassim, from a myrtle branch. Now, as I mentioned before, this balad rasan are people that have this sheretz, this insect that's there at the brain. So now you have to pick up madli kolchat kare. You pick up 1 foot of each of this insect, four legs of this insect, moisiv chad, and you place it on each one of these leaves that you have there, 4 leaves. And then v'shakol b'tzavsa, you could remove it with a tweezer. But you have to have those leaves there to make sure that it doesn't cling back to the brain. So it gets completely removed. And then the kalile, and you burn it. And the Gemara adds the Eloi, if you're not going to do it this way, that you remove it with these leaves, where you put the legs on these leaves, it'll go back, it'll cling back to the brain. That's the healing. If you're not going to burn it, that is. Okay, I'm sorry. So Rashi says if you're not going to burn it, so then it's going to go back onto the brain. This is the healing for the Bali Rasa. Machriz Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan announced his haru mizuvish of Bali Rasa. Be careful from the people that have these flies or these insects that come and are attracted to the people that have this rasa. The point is that it's contagious. If you come close to them, you could also get sick with this. Rab Zeire, so the Gemara says regarding different Amiraim, Rab Zeire le have a Yosef bezike. Rab Zeire would not sit in a place where the wind was blowing from somebody that had this illness of rasan. Rab Elazar le ayel ba'ale. Rab Elazar would not enter into the tent of a person that had this illness of rasan. Rab Ami v'Rabasi le have achli mi beyet ahim muvoya. Rabbi Rabasi would not eat from an egg that came from that alleyway, from that area where the people of Bali Rasan had this illness. So again, this is a contagious illness. But Rabbi Shua ben Levi, however, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, the Gemara tells us, Mikrach Bahu, he would wrap himself together with these Bali Rasan, he would come, he would be very close with them, and V'asik b'Torah, and he would learn Torah together with them. He wasn't concerned about the fact that this is a contagious illness. He was teaching them Torah, and he said, Oma, the Pasuk says, Ayeles Ahavim v'Yalas Chen. That Torah is Ayeles Ahavim and Ayelas Chen. So therefore, learning Torah will not harm me at all, even if I learn with these people that have a contagious illness. So therefore he said, what do we see from this Pasuk? Im Chen Ma'alai Lemda. If learning Torah brings grace upon those learn it, Agunile Magna, will it not shield, will it not protect the people that learn the Torah? So therefore you don't have to be worried about any illnesses, catching any illnesses from anyone else if you learn Torah with them. So now the Gemara brings a famous story, an unbelievable story about Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Ki Abishachiv, when Rabbi Shua ben Levi passed away, Amr Leila Malach, the Malach, the Abisha says to the Malach Hamaves, Zil Ovid Leirus, go do his will. In other words, to go bring his neshama above in the way he desires. A tzaddik, according to his will, bring his neshama here to this world. Ozal is chazile. So the Malach Hamaves came and appeared to Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Amalei, Rabbi Shua ben Levi said to the Malach Hamaves, Achvili duchtoi, go come and show me my place in Gan Eden, where it is that I'm going to be going to. Amalei l'chaya. So the Malach HaMavis says, sure, for your life. In other words, yeah, I will show you. Amalei. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi says to the Malach HaMavis, Havli sakinach. Give me your knife. The kayach that the Malach HaMavis has, the knife he uses to take away people's lives, give it to me. Because maybe you'll scare me on the way going to my place in Gan Eden. So I want to be sure that you'll let me live. Give me your knife. Yov in LA, the Malach HaMavis gave him his knife. So no, he took him up to the place in Gan Eden. When they came there, Dalye, so the Malach HaMavis picked him up, and he showed him the place, his place in Gan Eden where he's going to. What happened? What did Rabbi Shua ben Levi do? Shavar. He jumped, nafalahu gisa. He fell down over there in that place on the other side, in the place of Gan Eden where he's meant to be, and he went in there alive with his body. Not the Malach HaMavis grabbed hold of his garment, the karna de glima, the corners of his garment. Amalei. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi said, B'shvuasa delayasina. I swear that I'm not coming back. That's it. I'm staying here alive. Oh, makut shebirichu. So the Eibishter said, if any time in Rabbi Shua ben Levi's lifetime he made a shvua, he made an oath, and he had to go and nullify this oath to be mattered, so then he's gonna be forced to go out. We could take him out. But if this never happened in his lifetime, then he's not going to leave and he can stay there. So that's it. Rabbi Shua ben Levi staying in Gan Eden with his body. Amalei, the Malach HaMavis says to Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Havli sakinoi, give me my knife. He didn't want to give him his knife. Nofka Baskola, so Baskol came out and said to him, Havna alei, give him his knife. Because the Malach HaMavis needs his knife to do his job with all other people. That's how he takes their neshama, brings them back to Shemayim. In other words, the Marshal says he didn't want to give him his knife because he thought that maybe now he'll take away his guf. So the Eibishter says, no, he doesn't need it for you. He needs it for everybody else. Machriz Eliyahu. So when Rabbi Shua ben Levi came into Gan Eden with his body alive, Eliyahu Hanavi announced, Kameh, in front of him, Panu makom lebar livoi, Panu makom lebar livoi. Make place for Rabbi Shua ben Levi, make place for Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Ozal, Rabbi Shua ben Levi went. There in Gan Eden, Ashkechel Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, and he found Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, Rabbi Yosef, al Tlas, Osa, Tachte Kepiza. He's sitting on 13 golden thrones. Whatever this means, of course, this means Beruchnius, the level of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, 13. The number 13 is a significant number. The Yud Gimel with the Sarachimim. Amalei, Rabbi Shua ben Levi says to him, Atu bar Livoi, are you Rabbi Shua ben Levi? Amalei hein, yes, I'm Rabbi Shua ben Levi. So he asks him, Nirasa keshes biyamecha, the keshes, a rainbow. Was there a rainbow in your lifetime? Amalei hein, he said yes. So Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai said to him, so iyat bar Livoi. You're not. So if so, you're not Rabbi Shua ben Levi. There's nothing special about you. If in your generation there was a rainbow, right? Because a rainbow shows on the fact that there's a sign that the world should have been destroyed. But if you would be really a tzaddik gomor, Rashi says, in the generation bedoir, so then you don't need this sign at all. All right. So the Rebbe Taich wants this Rashi. Im yesh tzaddik gomor bedoir. It's not enough just to be a tzaddik gomor. You have to be a tzaddik gomor bedoir. Tzaddik gomer that is not a tzaddik in pelts, a person that's a tzaddik for himself, but a tzaddik gomer that affects the people in the entire generation. So he told him, if you would be a tzaddik gomer that would also influence all the people in your generation, then you wouldn't need any rainbow in your generation. But the Gemara now concludes and says regarding this, V'loihi, this is not true. Dolei havoi, really there was no rainbow in his midi, there was never a rainbow in his generation. Elasava aleachsek tivusa lenafshoi. But he didn't want to take the credit for this, and when Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai asked him, was there a rainbow or not? So he didn't want to take the credit for this, so therefore he didn't say this. So obviously this is an extremely unusual thing over here. Rabbi Shua ben Levi was zeicher to this, to go into his place in Gan Eden, alive, with his body, similar to Eliyahu Hanavi himself, Take. So the Gemara is soon going to tell us what the schus is. Let's see. Rab Chanina bar Papa, so the similar story happened to Rab Chanina bar Papa, Sheshvine Hava. He was a friend of the Malach HaMavis. Malach HaMavis was, Rashi says, Oyava. He was always by him. When it came the time for Rab Chanina bar Papa to pass away, Amrulei, the Eibishter says to Malach HaMavis, Zil Ovid Leiruse, go to his will, go bring him up here Lamaila. So the Malach HaMavis went to him, Vas Chazilin appeared to him. Amalei, so Rab Chanina bar Papa says to him, Shafki tlosi yomin, give me another 30 days, Adan ahead Talmudoi, so I can review the Torah that I learned, the Gemara. The Amri, because they said, Ashrei mi shabalakan v'talmude biyode. Fortunate is the one that comes here and he has the Torah that he learned in his hands. So Shafke, he allowed him another 30 days. Lebasat lasen yomin. After those 30 days are up, again he went and appeared to Rab Chanina bar Papa. So he says to the Malach HaMavis, Achvili duchtoi, show me my place in Gan Eden. So he said, yes, for sure, I'll show you your place in Gan Eden. Rab Chanina bar Papa tells the Malach HaMavis, Havli sakinoch, give me a knife. Maybe on the way you're going to scare me. The Malach HaMavis says to Rab Chanina bar Papa, do you want to do the same that your friend did? That you're going to come there to your place in Gan Eden and then you're going to jump into your place without me taking away the parting, separating your neshama from your body. So Rab Chanina bar Papa tried to convince the Malach HaMavis that he deserves this. So he said, I see Sefer Torah. Bring me a Sefer Torah and v'chazi, and we'll see. Is there anything in this Sefer Torah that I have not fulfilled? So the Malach HaMavis says to Rab Chanina bar Papa, did you wrap yourself together with those people that are very ill? And it's a contagious illness. But nevertheless, did you go and wrap yourself and teach them Torah and not be worried about the illness? Like Rabbi Shua ben Levi did, as the Gemara said before. Right, so the Yetzer Hara, or the Malach HaMavis, that is, did not give him his desire to be able to go up in Shemayim and to enter into Gan Eden together with his guf. So what do we see here in the Gemara? What was this chus of Rabbi Shua ben Levi? That he taught people Torah and he wasn't afraid of the illness that he might catch from them. So the Rebbe speaks about this story of Rabbi Shua ben Levi in one place in the Sikha and Chelik Dalet and the Sikha and Pirkei Yavis. It's in Perek Gov of Pirkei Yavis. So the Rebbe there says that in Chassidus it explains regarding Eliyahu Hanavi that the reason he was zeicha to enter into Gan Eden with his body is because there's different types of tzaddikim in the world. There's a tzaddik that his main avodah in the world is to elevate himself above his guf, to sort of ignore the inyanim of his guf and to reveal his neshama, to live more with his neshama. So then, when it comes his time to pass away, the neshama enters into Gan Eden, not the guf. Rabbi Shua ben Levi, his main avodah in the world was to bring the kedusha of the Torah and to permeate it into every aspect of his body, to be mezachich, to refine and elevate the body itself. And you see what he did over here regarding himself, and according to what the Gemara says, he did this for the generation as well. He was a tzaddik gomer b'doyer, for the whole generation, that there was no keshes, there was no rainbow, because he also related this to the people, to the whole world. And not only to the whole world, even to people that were sick and very ill. And the contagious illness, nevertheless, he came down. That was his milah, that he came down to everyone else, and that's why he was zeicha to come with his guf into Gan Eden. The Gemara now says, even though Rab Chanina bar Papa was not zeicha to enter into Gan Eden with his body like Rabbi Shua ben Levi, but nevertheless something unique happened when he passed away. Kinoch nafshe, when he passed away, afsek le'amuda denura, a pillar of fire came and separated between him and the entire world. Ugmiri, and we have a tradition, we know the le'mafsek amuda denura, that this pillar of fire should come down and separate between this person and everyone else. This doesn't happen el chad bedara or the trein bedara, for one person in a generation or two people in a generation. So Karav Lagabei Rabbi Alexandri came close. He wanted to come to Rab Chanina bar Papa after he passed away, and Omar, and he said, Asay b'shvil kvoid chachamim, that do for the cover of the chachamim to remove this pillar of fire, that we can come to Rab Chanina bar Papa. Layashkech. They didn't listen to what he said. So then he said, Asay b'shvil kvoid avicha, do for the honor of your father to remove this pillar of fire, that we can come and take care of you. Layashkech. Then it didn't change, didn't pay attention to what he said. Then Rabbi Alexandri said, Asay b'shvil kvoid atzmecha, do this for your own honor, for the sake of your own honor, that we can come and bury you properly. There's a fire that doesn't allow us to come here. Istalik, so when he said that, the fire was removed. So we see how Rab Chanina bar Papa himself was so great. Amar Abaye, so Abaye said, La fukim iman. So this great fire that was here, so who is this coming to exclude? Who is this coming to separate from? The Leikayim, so this comes to separate someone that did not fulfill what it says in the Torah. Or in some versions of Kayim Afilo Isacha, someone that didn't fulfill even one ice in the Torah. Amalei Ravada Bamasne, So Rav Adva Masna turns to Abaye himself that said this. La fukim imar. Did this come to exclude the master? You Abaye yourself? Why? Well, what did Abaye do wrong? Delay isle makele. Because you don't have a gate on top of your roof. It's one of the mitzvahs. Asisa makele gagecha. So apparently at that point there was no gate on Abaye's rooftop. So the Gemara says, but veloihi. This is not true because meve have Abaye had a gate on his rooftop. It was punked at that time that a wind blew it off, but he always had a gate on his rooftop. The Farshim speak about this point of view, about this gate on the rooftop. It doesn't mean the way it sounds, but there's something unique about this gate of air on the rooftop, what this mitzvah represents, that he was asking him punkt about the fact that you don't have a gate on your rooftop. Amar Rab Chanina, the Gemara concludes regarding the story of here about the Bali Rasam, people that are very ill, it's a contagious illness. Why in Bavel do we see that we don't have this illness? Answer is because they eat trodin, which is beets, and they drink beer that's made from hizmi, some kind of a plant. Why don't we have mitziraim, people that have tzaras in Bavel, which I don't think it means mamish the tzaras, so that the Torah speaks about, but b'chlal, people that have boils on their body. Also because they eat the beets, and v'shayis and sheichar, and they drink beer, v'reichetzim b'mei pras, and they bathe themselves in the water of the river Paras. Hadran halach hamater esishtay. This is the conclusion of the 7th Perek of Masechta Kesubos, Perek hamater esishtay. Let's begin the next Perek. So the next Perek begins to speak about the halachis of what's called nichsei malug. Nichsei malug are the properties that a wife brings into the marriage. It could be brought in before the marriage or during the marriage, whether somehow she inherits this from some place, and it's not written into the Kesubah, and therefore this is hers really. The properties itself belong to her, and if she gets divorced or her husband passes away, she gets it all back. But while her husband is alive, and while she's married to her husband, the husband is the one that can use all the fruits and anything that's produced from these fields, the husband takes and eats. So now this Mishnah will begin to discuss regarding these nichsei malug, what happens if the wife wants to sell them to somebody. Will the sale take effect or not? On one hand, the principle, the actual physical fields itself belongs to her. She should have the right to sell them. But on the other hand, one of the conditions in the marriage is that all the fruits of it belong to the husband. So maybe she shouldn't be allowed to sell it. So, as we'll see here in the Mishnah, there's different timings of exactly when it is that she got these properties. It will depend on that. So Zakt Heilige Mishneh, Ha'isha, when it comes to a wife, Shenaflu lo nechasim at shaloi tisaris. She got these properties even before Edison, before the first stage of marriage. And now, after the Edison, she wants to sell them. So even though these are properties that the husband eats the fruits, but she wants to sell them to someone. So here, in such a case, because she already got it before, Maidim, Bishamim, Bisilul would agree, Shamicheres, Vanisenes, she can sell it, she can give it as a gift, Vikayam, and it will take effect. Because she already had it from before. So these are not, regarding this, she has the right to sell. No, but if she got these properties after Edison, once she's married, she's already his wife. She's already under his jurisdiction, so to speak. So now, these fields that she gets during this time, so here there's an argument whether she can go ahead and sell it. Beishamai says that true, the husband has the right to eat the fruits from these properties, but still, it doesn't take away her right from selling it. But Beisila says no, that she should not sell these properties. And Elu Maidim, but both Bishamai and Basil will agree, She'im Machra v'Nasna, that if she did go ahead and sold it or gave it as a gift, Kayam, that the sale or the gift will take effect. Right? The husband has the schus of eating the fruits, but B'di'evet, if she went and sold it, the sale takes effect. Rabbi Yehuda said, Omru Chachamim Lefnei Rabbi Gamliel. The Chachamim said in front of Rabbi Gamliel that it makes sense to say that she should not have the right to sell these properties. Since a man is Zeiche and his wife itself, this is at this point she's married to him, she's his Arusa, even before the full stage of marriage, but still she's his wife. Should he not also have the rights over her properties, that she should not have the ability to sell them? That was the question that was asked over here. So we'll see in the Gemara, there's a question whether he was saying this regarding what Beishamai said, that Beis Shammai says l'chatchila she has the right to sell them. So the Chachamim are asking why? Why does she have the right to sell them? Or maybe he was saying this regarding what Beis Hillel said. Beis Hillel said that even if she doesn't have the right to sell them, but b'diavad, if she sold them, the sale takes effect. So the Chachamim said in front of Rabbi Gamliel, why should it take effect if he has the rights over his wife herself? So this should also give him the rights that his wife should not be allowed to sell any properties that she inherits. Amalehem, but Rabbi Gamliel disagreed. Rabbi Gamliel responded and said, Allah chadoshim onu baishim. On the chadoshim, meaning chadoshim means the properties that she inherits right now. Now means after she's fully married, and now in the current situation when she's fully married and she receives properties from some kind of an inheritance, we are ashamed of the halacha that some chachamim said that those properties she can't sell. Rabbi Gamliel held it doesn't make any sense. Why can't she sell these properties? True, the husband has a right to use it while it's in her possession, but why shouldn't she be allowed to sell it? So Rabbi Gamliel says, I'm ashamed of even that halacha. You're even adding and telling us that even those properties that she got from before marriage, before the Edison, and now it's the time of Edison, or before the Nisuin, that is. Al Chadashim means, Al Yishanim, sorry, means from before the Edison, or before the Nisuin. You're coming and saying that she can't sell them. What's happens? Why doesn't she have that right? Okay, so here till here we're talking about Edison. Now, what happens after the full marriage? Misha Nisis, once she's fully married, Eilu ve'elu maidim, so then everybody agrees, Shemachra v'nosna, that even after the fact, if she went and sold it, she gave it as a gift, Shabal maitzim yad lakuchais, that the husband can come and take it away from the buyers and say she had no right to sell it. How about Atshaloi Nisis v'nisis? She got these properties before the full marriage, and now that she's fully married, so Rabbi Gamliel says, as we said before, Rabbi Gamliel says that whatever rights he has over his wife herself, or the fact that he can eat the fruits of the property, does not stop her of the rights that she has in the actual ownership of the property itself, and therefore she could sell it or give it as a gift, and it therefore takes effect. So Rabbi Chanina ben Akavya also said regarding this, they asked Rabbi Gamliel, if he has rights over the wife herself that she belongs to him, he should not have a rights over her properties to stop her from selling them. Again, Rabbi Gamliel responded and said, Allah chadoshim, that on what's new, what she gets now after she's fully married. On ubaishim, we are ashamed of the halacha that you would say that she can't sell them. And you're even adding to us and telling us even what's old, even what she got before full marriage, that even that she can't sell. Why not? This belongs to her and she should be allowed to sell it. Gemara now brings another opinion. Rab Shimon made a distinction between nechasim lenechasim. This halacha, this question, whether a wife could sell her properties, it depends what kind of properties they are. Nechasim ayeduin lebal, those properties that were known to the husband from before, and the Gemara will explain exactly how we define this, what it means that it was known to the husband. Leitimker, those properties that she cannot sell. Even b'diavad, if she sells them, the sale is nullified. If it's not known to the husband, leitimka, she can't sell them. But if she went b'diavad and sold them, the sale takes effect. Let's just learn one piece over here on the Mishnah. So Maishna Reisha the loy pligi or Maishna Seifa the pligi. Why in the first case of the Mishnah she got the properties before Edison, before any marriage at all. And now it's already after the first stage of marriage. So over here, there's no argument. Everybody, it says, will agree. Bishami, Bisil will agree that if she sells it, she has the right. It takes effect. And why in the case where she got it after the Edison, after the first stage of marriage, that's when she inherited these properties. Now there's an argument between Bishami and Bisil whether she has the right to sell. Amri de Rab Yanai, so in the Shiva of Rab Yanai, they explained, Reisha, in the Reisha of the Mishnah, Bizuchusa Naflu. She got these properties when she had the rights to them. She had the total rights to these properties. She still was not married at all, so she's totally zayche in these properties. So even after she gets married, the Edison, she still retains her rights to be able to sell them. Seife, but in the Seife, when she got these properties, she was already in the husband's possession. That at the moment she gets them, as they enter into her possession, the husband has the right to use the fruits. So by her selling them, she's taking away from the husband his rights. So therefore, she can't sell them. Fragt the Gemara, but if that's the pshat of Beis Hillel's opinion, if the pshat of here is that it fell into his rights, and therefore how could she sell them, taking away his rights to eat the fruits from it? So then why does Beis Hillel make a distinction? If she sold it after the fact, we say that the sale or the gift takes effect. Why? She's taking away his rights. Ella, so therefore the Gemara tweaks the pshat of here a little bit. The Gemara says, Reisha vaday b'schusa naflo. Yeah, regarding the Reisha, when she got these properties before she was married at all to him, so that remains like the pshat we said before, that because she had a total schus on these properties, so even after she gets married to him, she can sell them. But Seifer, in the Seifer, the pshat of Beis Hillel's opinion is as follows. Eimer b'schusa, Eimer b'schusai. That really, since we're speaking here about Edison is not the full marriage. Edison is only a partial marriage. And it's a suffix if she's going to ever get fully married to this person. Maybe yeah, maybe not. So therefore, the rights that the husband has in these properties at this stage is unclear. It's a suffix. So therefore, lechatchila loisim. Lechatchila, she should not sell it, because if she's going to be fully married to him, so then it turns out that he did have the rights at this time. But in Machrav and Asna Kayim, since it's a suffix and we don't know if he has the rights at this time period, so B'di'evet, if he sold it, the sale will take effect. That's the explanation of Beis Hillel's opinion.
Just Edison, he doesn't have rights?
That's what it looks like over here. Yeah, so therefore it's a suffix, or it's a suffix if he has the rights, depending if he's taka planning on getting married. It's not clear over here exactly. In other words, I'm not sure if the pshat is that it goes Lemafreya afterwards. If he gets married, so then Lemafreya, he did have the rights from the Edison, or the rights starts at the Edison, but only al menas if she's going to get married fully. If she gets married fully, so then you say, oh, she does have the rights. He does have the rights. That is during the Edison.